All right, so we are going to be cleaning the Glock 17. This is Gen 5 Glock 17. I will show you that it is unloaded. There's no magazine in the gun. But we're going to show you how you get here, because the number one cause of negligent discharges, not an accidental discharge, but negligent discharge, is when people go to clean their weapons, they unload them incorrectly, which puts another round in the chamber, and when they go to press the trigger to take the slide off the gun, it goes bang. So we've got a box of dummy rounds, and we're gonna load 2 dummy rounds. You can see orange tips, dummy rounds. We're gonna load 2 dummy rounds into this magazine. And we're going to insert the magazine. Now, matter of fact, we'll load one more dummy round just for the sake of argument. All right, so that's in there, and you've got one in the chamber. Okay, we've got one in the chamber. All right. So in order to unload this to make it safe, to where we can safely clean this weapon, what happens a lot of times is people will eject the round, all right, and then drop the mag. Okay, well, we put 3 rounds in this weapon, so that's 1, 2, and the third one ended up back in the chamber. So when people go to squeeze the trigger, it goes bang, and somebody ends up getting hurt, or you end up shooting through your TV or your wall or whatever. So the proper way to unload this when we go to clean it is, let's load this back up, insert the magazine, rack that slide. Proper way to unload this is always drop your magazine first. That gives us 2 rounds in the magazine, 1, 2. So we still have 1 in the chamber. So we're gonna rack that slide. It fell, that's the 3rd. And then, just to be sure, we're gonna rack. Make sure that it's empty. It is empty, okay? We're gonna point it in a safe direction and press the trigger. Okay, now, we're done with ammo. We wanna make sure that we've got all of our ammo, although these are dummy rounds. If they were real ammo, we want to make sure that we take them and separate them completely from the gun. Magazine, completely from the gun, okay? Unless we're cleaning magazines, and if that's the case, then that's a whole other thing, and we'll do that at another time. This is just going to be a basic gun cleaning instructional video for the Glock 17. All Glocks are the same, pretty much, but we're going to clean the Glock 17 today. It's got the TLR2 stream light on it, laser light combo. All right. We're also going to talk about how to clean your light lens when it gets all that build up on there from shooting the gun. We're going to talk about that. Easy, simple way to do that. First thing I like to do is put gloves on. It just saves me from getting all that stuff on my hands, especially if you have small kids, and then you clean your weapons and then you have to go touch them. It's easier. Okay, let's pull this watch off. All right, so we know our gun is safe. Our trigger is pressed. Okay, so now we have to remove the slide from the frame. All right, so you have your takedown levers right here, or your slide release lever right here. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can either, you can't do this the second way with the light on. You have to take the light off. But the easiest way for me is to hold the gun like you normally would, open your hand, bring your fingers to the top of the gun, and it's a C-clamp basically. So we're gonna C-clamp this, slightly slide it back, pull down the slide release or the slide takedown lever, and push it forward while we're holding down that lever. Now, it's just gonna slide off, okay? Now we've got 2 pieces. Now my gun is extremely dirty. I shoot it quite a bit, and it's been a while since I've cleaned it. But that is a testimony to Glock. Glock is one of the most reliable weapons there is. Glock is not paying me to say that. It's just from my personal experience. So we're gonna set that there. Now, we're gonna take this recoil spring out. Just compress that, pull it out. Now we're gonna remove the barrel. Just like that. Now the gun is into 4 separate pieces, okay? Now, let's say, and then of course we would go ahead and remove this light because we're gonna clean all up under this as well. But for the sake of showing you a second way of taking this slide off, that is easier for some people that don't have a lot of grip strength in their hands. Set that together, safe direction, press the trigger. We're gonna remove this light first. That's the first thing we're gonna do. It's off. Second thing we're gonna do is you're gonna press down. Okay, we'll do it right here. Press down on the gun, tilt it forward just a little bit. Slide those takedown levers down, and then lift straight up. And gravity helps you take it off, okay? That way you don't have to use your hand strength. Now, take it back apart into 4 separate pieces like we did before. Now, I will say that this is not the only way to clean this gun. This is just my way to clean the gun. I clean it thoroughly, and I clean it to the best that I can. But there are a bunch of different ways to clean the gun. First, we're gonna start out with is this light. That's super easy to clean this off right here. You don't have to use the carbon remover or anything like that. All you need is a pencil eraser. Take just a regular pencil eraser and erase it away. And you will see how clean this comes. Get all that buildup off. And there's nothing special about this eraser. Nothing at all. So once we get it off, we're just gonna take our clean cloth and wipe it clean. And there you go. Okay, well, switch that over. There you go. Good as new. Okay. All right, now that was easy enough. Next thing we're going to talk about is the tools that you will need to clean your weapon, your Glock. Okay. So the first thing that I have is I have Hoppy's Elite. Now Hoppy's, they're not paying me to say anything about them, but there again, through my experiences, this is the best stuff that I've found yet to clean your weapons, especially your rifles, your AR-15s. Around the firing pin where it really builds up, this stuff will take it off pretty good. This is Hoppy Elite's foaming gun cleaner, high performance. It's low odor. It does not real strong. It doesn't have real strong odor, and it comes out in a foam. So it's basically like that foam soap. That's kind of what it looks like. Okay, and it's basically like you're using soap on your gun. Okay. Then we're gonna use Hoppy's number 9 lubricant to lubricate all the parts that we're going to lubricate once we get done cleaning. And we'll go over which parts need to be lubricated. Second thing, we've got our squares, 1x1 squares that we will use to make sure the barrel is nice and clean. All right, so we got our cleaning brush. Got our cleaning brush there. And we also need 1 or 2 things. All right. We need either a jag that we're going to use with our square pads here. Okay. So either we're going to use that, or we're going to use this piece here. It's like a almost like a brush, a bore brush. So use 1 of the 2 things, whichever you want to use. I like using this when they're new. When they're not new, they become dirty and they're almost useless. So I like using the pads. Once that becomes old, you can only use it so many times, in my opinion. If there's more use for that, then y'all leave comments y'all leave something in the comments below to tell me. But I like using the Jag, okay, and the square pads. So you also need, this is like a nylon brush, okay. It's got a small brush on this end, big brush on this end. You've also got a brass brush, small, big, just like the nylon brush, okay. There's different uses for those. All right. So I always like to start with the slide, because the two hardest things to clean is, and nothing is hard about cleaning it, but if I had to rank them in difficulty, I would say the frame, the slide, and then the barrel and the spring. There's not much cleaning you're going to do on the spring other than basically just wiping it down. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I like to start with the slide, and then I like to move to the frame. The reason I like to start with the slide is because it's all metal. Okay, it's all metal, and this can become tedious. I mean, you can see how dirty that is, and how all the small crevices and cracks you have to get into to do that. All right, so when I tell you guys this stuff is like soap, you're about to see. Make sure that you've got it on this is a Hoppy's cleaning pad. It's actually got plastic on the bottom of it so it doesn't seep through. But I also have a table that I use to clean my weapons on, and I don't get it on anything else. All right, so make sure you have a designated cleaning area that you don't mind if it gets some cleaning residue on it. So we are basically gonna, see how that foams up like that? All right, that's probably, I like to use a lot. It's probably too much, but hey, it is what it is. So I like to take that, and we're going to take our wire brush. We're just going to push that around. We're not going to scrub yet, but we just want to make sure it gets everywhere it needs to go. Okay, and one thing that I normally use that I don't have set up in here is my compressed air. I like to use compressed air, dry stuff out, but we're not going to use it today. A lot of people don't have access to that, so we're gonna skip that. Make sure it gets everywhere. Okay, and the reason we're not scrubbing it right now is because we're gonna let it sit. We're gonna let it work. We're gonna let it break down that carbon, and you're gonna see that you actually don't have to do a whole lot of scrubbing with this stuff here. All right, now we want to make sure we don't use this brush on the outside. We'll get to the outside in a minute. And you can see how this already turning dark, and I hadn't even started scrubbing it yet. I'm using the back side of the brush to kind of get it in all the cracks and crevices. All right, we're gonna actually use a nylon brush on the outside. All right, so we're gonna let that sit for just a second. Guys, if you like this video and you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and like this video. Also go over to my Facebook page. It's the same as my YouTube channel, Hammer Down Firearms Training, and Hammer Down Firearms Training Academy, and like and follow that page. There's going to be stuff on my YouTube channel that's not on my Facebook, stuff that's on my Facebook that's not on my YouTube. So make sure you like and follow both of those. And we will be starting to host classes soon. I'll let you guys know as soon as that happens. Now, we let that sit and work. Now we're gonna scrub it a little bit. Get all up in the crevices. And I tell you, man, this gun is extremely dirty. You can see how that's turning. But when I wipe it away, it's gonna be completely different. Make sure you get all up in there. Like I said, it's like soap. It's like you're using soap. This is the best stuff I've found. So this is going to be a series. This is how to clean your weapons. It's just a basic cleaning. and then we'll go into the depths of actually taking the gun apart further than just a field strip into these 4 pieces and cleaning it a step further. One place that a lot of people tend to forget about when they clean their slide is right here where the firing pin is exposed. Make sure you clean all that carbon buildup off of there as well. Okay. All right. Now, we've got all this stuff here. Yes, it's got, it looks black, but it's still working. Okay. So we're going to take that now that our inside's clean, and we're going to move it to the outside. Just wipe it down with your finger. Get it everywhere. Okay. And now you see why I like to wear gloves, because I don't have to worry about getting the stuff on my hands. I can just move it around like I want. Let it soak in. Okay. Let it work its magic, and then we're gonna move to our nylon brush. Our nylon brush is not gonna take off the finish, not gonna scratch the gun, but it's gonna allow us to get a deep clean on the outside of the gun. So when we get done cleaning it, the gun's gonna look brand new. Make sure you clean your sights all up in the cracks and crevices. Don't forget the front slide there. A lot of people tend to forget that. Make sure we get up in our ejector. All right. Now, take our washcloth and basically wipe it down. And it really doesn't matter if you do the outside first and then the inside, however you want to do it. It's up to you. It's all a preference thing. And really cleaning your gun is how you clean it is really up to you, as long as you clean it thoroughly. Okay. You want to make sure that when you need it, when your life is on the line and you actually need this thing to work, this gun to work like it's supposed to, that it does. Okay. Make sure get all in the cracks and crevices. Make sure that it's all clean. Make sure you get every little spot. Don't want anything left over. We want to get this gun as dry as possible. The only wet spots we want on this gun is the spots that we're going to lubricate. And one of the reasons is that when your gun is wet, it tends to attract more dirt, grime, and dust. Okay, which can cause malfunction. Now there's torturous tests on the Glocks, time and time again, with mud and water and dirt and all that stuff, and it doesn't tend to fail. But the cleaner our gun is, the more reliable it is. We don't want to test its limits when we actually need it. When we actually need the gun to work, we want it to work like it's supposed to work, period. So, and at this point, this is where I would take the air and blow it out, just for, a little extra cleaning. But you can take, this is your firing pin here that goes up through here, okay? Safety buffer here that allows the firing pin to drop, okay? You see how that works? It won't go forward. Once I push this down, it allows the firing pin to move freely, okay? It allows it to move forward, all right? So once it's forward, if you watch the buffer, now it comes up. Okay, you can take the back plate off and get to all that. That's for another video. Like I said, we are going to do a series on taking the Glock apart. But for now, we're just going to do the basic cleaning. Get everything nice and clean. Okay. We're gonna save the lubrication process for last because we're gonna lubricate everything right before we put it back together. Make sure everything's nice and dry. And there you go. You can tell a dramatic difference on how clean it is now to how dirty it was, right? Dramatic difference, okay? So we're gonna take that slide and we're gonna set it to the side. Like I said, the next thing we're gonna move to is the frame. The frame is absolutely filthy, absolutely filthy. And I just shot this gun today. I wanted to make sure that it was nice and dirty for this video. Number one, so that I can show you how amazing this stuff is. Number two, so that you could actually tell a difference once I cleaned it. So the same thing, I'm gonna put this everywhere, okay? Rub it around all in there. Now this is plastic, the polymer, so we wanna make sure that we're not using the wire brush on this. We wanna make sure that we are using, I mean you can I guess, but I don't use it because it tends to scratch it. And I don't want that. So now, all these internal parts, you want to make sure that you're being careful. Your slide stop lever here. Now, the Gen 5 has one on both sides. So you want to make sure that you don't catch this and bend it up. Okay, you don't want to do that, or else if it bends up and it's always up, then when you put this gun back together and you go to shoot it, the slide is going to lock back every time it hits that point on the slide. Okay, so you want to make sure we don't bend that up. We want to make sure we take care on that part. Don't want to bend any of these metal pieces here. Okay. So just like on the slide, we want to get everything where it's supposed to go. Get all this stuff everywhere. You want to let it sit. Let it work. Okay. Let it work. Let it do its job. And once again, guys, if you have something in mind that you want to see a video on, firearms related, just let me know either on my Facebook page or on my YouTube page, and we can definitely get that done. All right, so take an nylon brush and brush it out. Use the big end in certain places, and in certain places you may need to use the smaller end. But get all that old lubricant, all that carbon buildup, get all that stuff off. Now, one thing I do when I use my brush in here is I like to hold down on the slide stop lever. That way I don't take the chance of bending it up. I like to scrub all in there. Get your mag well real well. Make sure you get that trigger housing up in there. And air, compressed air works really good here too. But like I said, we're not using compressed air. See how filthy that is? It's terrible. But like I said, I had to make a good video for you guys, and in order to make a good cleaning video, I had to get it extremely dirty. And that's what we did. Now you'll see a dramatic difference once I clean it. Now, what you can do as well is you can use stuff like this. It almost looks like a dentist pick, a dental pick. But they actually put these in cleaning kits. That's where this one came from, with a cleaning kit. And what you use this for is you can take this and your rag, clean off and find the small places that you can't fit your finger into. So let's go ahead and wipe this down, get all this cleaning chemical off. And then we will get in the tight places. Stuff we can't, areas we can't get with just our fingers, we will use that. And you can also use the back end of a toothbrush. And if you don't have a nylon brush, a toothbrush works well too. just like the nylon brush does. Okay, so we're going to take this, push it down in there. Make sure you get all that stuff out. In fact, let me see if I got a toothbrush here we can use the back of. And I do. So we're going to use the back of this toothbrush to get deep down in the mag well here. Once again, make sure you hold down your slide stop lever. And on your metal pieces, if they're not coming clean inside of your gun, you can use the wire brush on just the metal pieces if they're not coming as clean as you'd like. You can use it. I tend to use the smaller end. It's kind of more pinpoint on what you want to hit. That way you can ensure that everything gets clean and you don't scratch anything up. Just hit those real good. Make sure you don't bend anything. And you know, this, like I said, this is just a basic cleaning. If we wanted to get real deep into it, we would take it further apart, and we're eventually going to get there. That couple videos from now, we might get down and dirty and take the whole thing apart and clean it from top to bottom. Make sure we got a nice, good cleaning. But this is just a quick field strip and field cleaning. And some of these little crevices can be hard to get down into. That's why sometimes it can be less of a headache if you actually take the whole thing apart. But sometimes that can be more of a headache because then you got to put it back together. And if you don't know what you're doing, it can be a pain. But we'll get to it. We'll work it out. Okay. And that's fairly clean. It's probably not as clean as, like I said, it's not as clean as we could get it if we took it apart, but you know what? I know that it's clean enough to handle what I need it to handle. And I know that if I needed this weapon right now, that it would work just fine. All the important pieces are clean. And free of debris, which is basically what you're looking for. Okay, now, the bottom right here, okay, if you don't use a weapon light, it can tend to foul up here. Basically, just take your brush, it's already got hoppies on it, and brush it down, okay? Generally, it only gets dirty when you're not using a weapon light, okay? But we're gonna go ahead and clean it anyway, just to show you guys. And then once you get done, just wipe it down. It's really not a hard process to clean a Glock. It's super simple. Okay. And when I get done cleaning it, obviously my gloves, they've got residue on it. I'll take the gloves off and then give it one more wipe down once I have the gun back together to make sure that I get everything off. All right, so tell the big difference in that frame. Huge difference in that frame. Got one more spot here that I'm not satisfied with, so we'll get that off of there. That's good enough. Okay. I'm sure you guys can tell a huge difference in that frame and where it is now compared to where it was. Okay. That's acceptable. Now, we're going to go ahead and take care of the spring because it's super simple. So we'll take care of that. Basically, how I do it is take your wire brush, hold it on either end, and brush it, and turn, and brush it, and turn, and brush it, and so on and so forth until you're satisfied that it's clean. Once you're satisfied brushing, take your rag and wipe it down the best you can. I mean, it's a spring. All right, done with that. Set that to the side. Now, the barrel. When we're cleaning the barrel, the places that I like to hit first are what's the outside, okay? The outside, because that way, if I clean the outside, I clean the ramp here, okay? Clean all up here. Whatever falls into the barrel, you know, we tend to brush down like this, okay? Whatever falls into the barrel when you're cleaning the outside, you're going to clean out when you clean the inside of the barrel, when you clean down the barrel. All right, so we're going to go ahead and fill our barrel. Okay. Make sure that gets down there real good. A little bit all over the outside here. And rub it down. Now, I know it gets messy, but I like to get it messy like this because I know that I've hit every spot, okay? Every spot on this barrel has been touched by hoppies, and it's gonna eat away that carbon buildup, okay? Now, a lot of people will tell you to clean it this way. Me, like I said, this isn't the only way to clean this gun, okay? But the way that I clean the gun is I just brush it like this because anything that gets down on the barrel, I'm gonna clean it out in a minute anyway. So I'm gonna brush the ramp, the feed ramp that feeds the ammunition into the barrel. Make sure that's nice and smooth. We're using the wire brush because we're gonna get all that carbon buildup off. Now we're gonna flip it over. We're gonna hit here, top side. Get all around where that cartridge enters, okay? Make sure it's nice and clean. Use the small end of the brush to get right up in here. All right. Now, we don't want to use the wire brush everywhere on here because it's not necessary. Just the spots where it's necessary. Then we're going to move to our nylon brush. and pretty much just hit everything else. And if you notice in this brush, you've got it's flat, and then it's got like a curve right here, and then it's flat again. This is made to hit that outside of that barrel. Now, the outside of the barrel is clean. It's not wiped down, but it's clean. Okay, we'll wipe it down and dry it off in a minute. First, though, we're going to get the inside of the barrel. So, remember we've put the hoppies down our barrel, right? So we're going to brush it. Brush through, come all the way through. Once we're all the way through, pull it back the other way. All the way out. Don't stop mid-stroke. All the way through, all the way out. All the way through, all the way out. And do that until you feel that it's clean. Okay, and I mean really you can look down the barrel and tell whether it's clean or not for the most part. If you're not satisfied with it, do it some more. Once you're satisfied it's clean, take the brush off, put the jag on. All right. Wipe my hands down. Now, we can wipe down the outside of the barrel. Make sure you get everything off. Don't forget the tight spots. Tight spots are done. Now, take our jag and one of our pads. If we can get one here, there we go. We're gonna put the pad on the jag, just poke it straight in the middle. Boom. Okay, it's on there. And we're gonna send it. Okay, see how dirty that is? Okay, now if it's not tight enough for you, if you don't feel like it's gonna clean it out, you can use 2, even 3 of the cleaning pads. But don't use so many that it gets stuck, because then you're gonna have a hard time getting it out the other end, and an even harder time pulling it back through the other way to get it out. So let's stick it through there. And we're gonna continue doing this until it comes out, until these come out clean. If they come out white, then you know that the inside of the barrel is clean and free of debris. Well, we're getting there. And I mean, there's another way you can do it. You don't have to stick it on the end of the jag. You can take it and lay it on here and just shove it down. You know, almost clean. Okay. Now this one, since it's almost clean, we'll take it and we'll stick it back the other way so that we kind of save it. We're not using so many. Almost. Do it a couple more times. Try 3. Yeah, that's good tight there. Okay. Run it back through the other way. And that's clean. It's all white. Okay? Now that that's done, now we're going to talk about the lubrication spots. So we want to make sure that we don't put too much lubricant on, but we want to put enough to make the gun function and function well. So the spots that I like to lubricate, first off, let's start with the slide. I like to take and put a drop of lubricant, the back of the slide, okay, that's your front sight. So the back of the slide, all right, we're going to take and put 1 drop on the rail, okay, and then we're going to stand it up. And we're going to let that run down, okay? Now, the frame. I like to put a few drop here and there on the metal pieces. And you want lubricant anywhere metal touches metal, for the most part, okay? All right, it doesn't take a whole lot, especially with these hoppies. All right, so we've got that lubricated. Remember, we don't have to lubricate here because that's why we lubricated the slide. Now, the barrel. There is some controversy about the barrel. I will tell you that my Glock operates better if I lubricate the barrel. Okay, so I'm gonna put drop there, 1 drop on the barrel. Okay, and then I'm going to just run it down the barrel. Make sure the barrel's nice and lubricated. And all it takes is 1 drop. Okay? Now, take the slide, insert the barrel back into the slide, insert the spring, and you just compress the spring and push it down. You'll see 2 lips. You want it on the bottom lip, or else it won't go back together properly. So it should be straight. Spring should be straight. Then we want to take our frame, the slide back on the frame. Make sure that you line up all 4 like a railroad track. Line up all 4, because if you don't, and if you put it back together and they're not all 4 lined up and one doesn't get in there, it's gonna be heck to get it back apart. Okay, so right. Okay, point it in safe direction. Squeeze and hold the trigger. Right, slide again. Let that trigger reset come out. Press it again. So we just did a function check on the gun. The gun functions perfectly. Now, I'm gonna remove my gloves. And we're gonna wipe down the whole gun, okay? Make sure we get all that extra lubricant. Make sure we get all the cleaning solution off. Make sure that everything is nice and tidy the way that we want it. And there it is. Nice, clean Glock 17. All right, the question is, does it pass the white glove inspection? Let's find out. I guess that's a pass. Okay. And there we go. We got some more. We got to clean off here. All right. And that is how you field strip and field clean a Glock 17. If you have any questions, leave your questions in the comments below. If you have any critiques, leave them in the comments below as well. If you want to see more of these videos, please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go over to Facebook and follow and like my Facebook page. It's Hammer Down, all one word, Firearms Training Academy. And our classes will be starting in the near future. I will notify you on Facebook and YouTube when that actually happens. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember, your fate is only one hammer drop away. So always be confident in your training. You'll have a nice day.